Are you serious? Are you serious? I want to thank Dr. Joe Glickman for sending me this information, and also I want to thank Paul Grievous of Helena, Montana, that actually put this presentation together and has given us permission to use it for his teaching purposes, and we're very thankful that he has done that. Folks, you're looking at the 4 blood moons. This is going to be the 8th blood moon, 4 blood moon tetra on Jewish feast days since the crucifixion of Christ. Matter of fact, you're looking at the first one right there, April 14th of 32 AD. 1, 2. The third one, you see the cross. That happened on, of course, April the 3rd, 33 AD, when the 3 crosses on a hill far away was a 33-year-old Son of God who gave his life for the sins of the world. That was also the third of 4 blood moons and a total solar eclipse of the sun, that Christ died on the cross, and there was a major earthquake that hit the same day, and many bodies of the saints were seen walking in the streets of Jerusalem after the resurrection. So, and then the Passover, of course, came, and the tabernacles. We had partial blood moons to make 3 after that, but you had 4 blood moon cycle. But you can see where the 4 blood moon, the midpoint, how that we had the 4 blood moons. Now take a look here. The second time it happened was in the year 162 and 163 AD. And this was a time, of course, when the Jews were under tremendous persecution. There was also a great plague that destroyed 1/3 of all of Europe. And so the Jews thus had to find a new home. All right, that was the second time that we had a 4 blood moon cycle. And again, Passover, Tabernacles, Passover, Tabernacles. Now the third time it happened was in the year 795 and 796 AD. And again, Passover and Tabernacles, Passover and Tabernacles. It was also a time that the Muslims were attempting to conquer the entire world. They failed, of course, during the time of Charlemagne, but millions of Jews and Christians were martyred for the gospel of Jesus Christ. The fourth time it happened was in the year 842 and 843 AD. Again, Passover and Tabernacles, Passover and Tabernacles, the 4 blood moons came. It was also a time that the Muslims defeated the Holy Roman Empire, who also they murdered millions of Jews and Christians. Again, great persecution upon God's holy people. The next time we had a 4 blood moon cycle was in the year 860 and 861. Again, Passover and Tabernacles, Passover and Tabernacles. And during this time, the Muslims attempted again to conquer the world. This was the second time they tried. And they're defeated by Europe. But millions more Christians and Jews were martyred. Now, the next time we had a 4 blood moon cycle would come about 500, almost 600 years later, and that would be in the year 1493 and 1494. Again, Passover and Tabernacles, Passover and Tabernacles. Now, during this time in history, the Spanish Inquisition was going on, and of course, there was tremendous, it was a culmination, basically, of centuries of Jewish persecution and uprooting them and punishment, death for Jewish religious beliefs. Also, though, in 1492, though, during this same era, Christopher Columbus discovered America, discovered the Western Hemisphere, and created a new home for many of God's chosen people, Jews and Christians. Now, of course, the formation of America, which the 34 Christians on the Mayflower signed the Mayflower Compact. And when they did, it created the nation of America with a covenant with God. Now, in the year 1949 and 1950, we had 4 more blood moons. And of course, you had Passover and Tabernacles, Passover and Tabernacles. And during this period of time, of course, was when Israel became a nation. They were declared a nation, of course, on May the 14th, 1948. So this was during their first full year as a nation. The 4 blood moon cycle began. A tremendous situation. Also, for the first time in over 2,000 years, the United Nations accepted them, and the Dead Sea Scrolls were also found during this same period. The Dead Sea Scrolls were found containing the entire book of Isaiah, plus other very precious Jewish texts written on ancient Hebraic language on parchment. So this was an unbelievable moment. And then we take it another level. The next time this happened, of course, was in the year 1967 and 1968. We had these blood moons. And again, they're on Passover and Tabernacle. Passover and Tabernacle. And what happened during that period of time? Well, that's when Jerusalem was fully restored during the 6-day war as the complete capital of Israel. Also, the Jews, for the first time in nearly 2,000 years, seized the Temple Mount. They had lost it in 70 A.D., and they got it back in 1967. Full control of the Temple Mount. It took almost 2,000 years. Now, the next one. Here it is. Starting next week on April the 15th, 2014. And of course, 2015 on Passover and Tabernacles. Passover and Tabernacles. We will have 4 more blood moons. But we will also have a solar eclipse that will be in there as well. This is like none other. An event like we've never seen before. An unbelievable account for the 8th time, these blood moons. But notice the last blood moon. This is real important. The last blood moon. The first one, of course, next week is April 15, 2014. Then October the 8th, 2014, that's Tabernacles. This one's Passover. Then April the 4th, 2015, again, Passover. And then there it is. September 28th, 2015, the 4th blood moon will be a super blood moon and will be fully visible in Jerusalem. A super blood moon, the 4th one, will be seen visible in Jerusalem. An unbelievable time we're entering in. Something certainly prophetic's going on. I want you to know the Bible tells us that in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, the Lord said when he was during the creation, when he began, he made a very specific point about these signs that we would see in the heavens. He said these words, and I'll read it in Genesis 1:14. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years." We all know the seasons, the days, and the years. But remember, God, when he was creating all the stars and the planets, the solar systems, the sun, the moon, and the cycle of the blood moons, they are for times, they are for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. Something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. This is a very, I did not do this justice. NASA knows this is a very rare occasion. There's so much more information I would love to go over. Just don't have time to do it, but I will during my live broadcast today at the coming apocalypse. It's from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss it today. From 12 noon, 3 p.m. Eastern at my website, www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. I'll be seeing you guys in just a few moments. God bless.